Dobar večer. Good evening. My name is Val Kunchan, and I am the current chair of the board of directors of your credit union, Moya Financial Credit Union Limited. Due to the current pandemic, our format is once again virtual. This meeting will be abbreviated and cover only the required business with an expected duration of about an hour. Members will have an opportunity to ask questions. I'd like to acknowledge our frontline staff, those that continue to come into work at the branch office to serve our members. Thank you also to our members that have been understanding and patient during these challenging times. This past year has seen some changes in the way we have to work with members, but given all the circumstances, I believe we have weathered the storm and look forward to a normalization of our procedures in the coming months as the vaccination rollout moves forward. Thank you to our member service reps. As in prior years, this meeting will be conducted in English, but questions can be posted in Slovenian. I would like to remind all that every device connected to this meeting counts as a single person as far as voting and our quorum count go. If multiple persons in your household have pre-registered, I would ask that each person connect on their own device so that we have a more accurate count of attendance. Remember that the device can be your smartphone, a tablet, or a computer. Although your mic will be muted during the meeting, there will be opportunities throughout to ask questions. Please select the Q&A from the menu at the bottom of your screen. A question and answer box will pop up on the screen and you may type your question there. Be sure to press the send button when you want to submit your question. Pertinent questions will be addressed during the meeting. Other questions will be addressed with the person asking the question after the meeting. When it comes time to casting your vote for motions, a dialog box, a little window, will pop up on your screen. Simply click on the appropriate button of your choice on the poll with your mouse if you're on a computer, or your finger if you're on a tablet or a smartphone. The choices will be limited to yes or no. Once selected, please press submit to cast your vote. We appreciate your patience. Unfortunately, we are unable to provide technical support during the meeting. Thank you for your understanding. As tonight's member attendance is 78 and is greater than 50, I declare that we have a quorum. I would like to acknowledge our special guests in attendance tonight. Mr. Joe Bates, representing our external auditors, MNP LLP, and Ms. Alana McCleary, representing our regulator, the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario, or more commonly known as FSRA. In our opening prayer, let us remember our members who have passed away in the past year. We have tried to make this list as complete and accurate as possible. Please accept our sincerest apologies if we have missed anyone. Danica Anchimer, Marco Di Girolamo, Peter Erzar, Milena Genoria, Maria Gyurkej, Juliana Godec, Joseph Grant, Viktor Grl, Zvonka Grujic, Angela Horvat, Marian Hull, Tony Jelenic, Dorothy Kaučić, Maria Kolaric, Ludwig Kolenc, Stefan Krampach, Anthony Krashna, Anton Lechner, Janis Laurin, Anica Mauser, Joseph William McKenna, Margaret Ozimak, Max Paulic, Frida Pintaric, Anica Pleško, Maria Popit, Tomica Poslon, Minka Prinzel, Anna Royko, Joseph Schindler, Joseph Seretz, Isidor Shinkovets, Branko Škrlec, Emily Skert, John Slana, Joseph Slobodnik Jr., Branko Staricha, Jozef Šuštar, Liliana Šuštar, Dora Tomšić, Josefa Urbans, Joe Žionik, Nikolaj Žunić, and Frank Zupan. In 2021, the following individuals have passed away: Edward Dolar, Yolanda Goryup, Sonai Kokal, Katarina Kolenko, Franz Galogar, Anton Ludwig, Ivan Machne, Frank Nagodet, Jožica Šinkovec, Darinka Zabukovec, Dragutin Železniak, and Ernest Žilavec. May God bless their families and may they rest in peace. Lord, thank you for the mission you have blessed us with, to be stewards of the financial and material wealth of our valued clients. Give us the prudence and allow us to safeguard the assets entrusted to us. Help us maximize the benefits possible with impeccable integrity for the welfare of our depositors, investors, and their families. Bless us with the graces to provide service and excellence at all times in whatever we do. Make us channels to multiply the bountiful abundance you provide. Enable us to sustain and enrich this beautiful world that you have given us as our home. Manifest in us the faith, hope, and love to be radiated to all your people, Lord, whom we are privileged to serve. Let every endeavor be a testimonial and witness to your greatness and omnipotence. Amen. Welcome to all our members, and I wish you all an informative evening. Before we continue, I'd like to introduce the members of our board of directors. Barbara Udovic, Vice Chair of the Board. William Stein, Corporate Secretary. Lori Zimmerman, Margaret Zahler, Paul Dolence, Mark Zizek, James Ulkar, David Mizic, Jason Gorel, who stepped in as interim director to fill a vacancy, and myself, Val Conchan. Our management is headed up by our CEO, Tony Kroschel. I will now review the agenda. First item is the opening and introduction. Second is the approval of the agenda. Third is minutes of the last meeting. Fourth is results of director elections. Fifth is the reports. And tonight we'll have reports from the chair of the board of directors, the chief executive officer. We'll have a finance report, an audit committee report, and external auditor report. Number 6 will be the appointment of the external auditor. Number 7 is the open forum. And number 8 is the adjournment of the meeting. Bill Stein makes a motion to accept the agenda. Barbara Udovic seconds the motion. Are there any questions? I'll give a minute to give you a chance to enter a question. Seeing that there are no questions, please vote to accept the motion. Once again, when the poll is shown on the screen, please click on the button for yes or no, and then press submit. We'll give a few more seconds to let you place your vote. The motion is passed. The agenda stands as presented. Thank you. The minutes from last year's AGM have been available on our website, moyafinancial.ca, 10 days before this meeting, and a link to the page containing the minutes document was sent to all of you when you registered. We trust that you've had an opportunity to review them. Mark Zizek makes a motion to accept the minutes from last year's AGM. Jim Olkar seconds the motion. Are there any questions? I'll give a minute for questions to be entered. Seeing that there are no more questions, please vote to accept the motion. The motion is passed. The minutes from the 2020 AGM are approved. Thank you. Paul Delance, Chair of our Nominating and Member Community Relations Committee, will report on this year's director elections.
Good evening. My name is Paul Delance, and this past year, I had the fortune of being chair of the Nominating and Member Community Relations Committee. I would like to start by thanking my fellow committee members, David Mezic and Jim Wilchar, for their contributions and support over the past year. Moya Financial is always interested in new directors to join the board. If you are qualified in a certain area that can benefit Moya Financial, we strongly encourage you to submit your name to the election of the board of directors in 2022. Any member of Moya Financial who is interested and meets the criteria can inquire and apply. Joining the board of directors is a great way to make a difference in the community. This year, we had a total of 3 board of director vacancies that are each 3 years in term length. We would like to thank all of the candidates that applied for election in 2021. The elected candidates for 2021 are Margaret Zalar, Jason Gorel, and Andrew Rovansik. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda are the reports, beginning with the report of the board of directors. So good evening. Thank you for attending this meeting. Welcome to our 5th AGM. Like our first 4 years, this has been another year of changes and a year of innovation. I'm also pleased to report another successful year. Like all businesses and all organizations, Moya has had to make changes and adapt along the way during 2020. Our focus continues to be the financial institution of choice for you, our members. And with that in mind, we have adapted our operations to keep our services accessible with minimal downtime. We've attempted to remain open for business as much as possible. And while there have been some changes to the way we interact with the membership, we are appreciative of your support during these times. The board as well has had to make significant changes, opting for virtual meetings exclusively throughout the year. 2020 was another year of incredible growth. Our assets grew by 13%, raising our total assets to just over $310 million. Over the past 2 years, the assets of Moya Financial have grown by just over $70 million, something we attribute to Moya's dedication to providing the best banking experience to you, our members. We have our staff to thank, staff who are friendly, knowledgeable, and helpful, and who go the extra mile to ensure your banking experience is the finest. You may not have noticed if you haven't been coming to the branch lately, but we now have a proper sign outside of our main branch. I hope you've had an opportunity to check out our new Moya Financial website. It has been redesigned to be more up-to-date and allow you to navigate more easily to find whatever you need. In addition, we have a new website dedicated to our community and community events. Please check them out. Our mobile app has also been updated, and we hope that you are finding it to be more intuitive and easier to use. Recently, our new debit cards have been rolled out with a tap function on them. I am as careful as anyone when it comes to using some of this new technology, but the tap function is very convenient, and during these times where the focus is on not touching anything if possible, tap is a great solution. And if you've been keeping track with all the newsletter updates, you are by now aware that Moya is in the process of installing an ATM at 747 Browns Line, our member branch. It will be available 24/7 and will be part of the Exchange Network, a network of ATMs across all of Canada, allowing you to access your account and process transactions, including cash withdrawals, without incurring any kind of charge. These advances are implemented with the membership in mind to ensure that Moya remains relevant and continues to be your primary financial institution. The strategic plan continues to focus on the 3 pillars: the Slovenian community, the non-Slovenian community, and small business. COVID has presented many challenges. However, Moya continues to focus on balanced growth in all of these areas. We've stayed in touch with members throughout this pandemic, and we have seen growth in membership numbers. We have seen a significant increase in our loans portfolio, and we have seen huge increases in our deposits. The focus on the 3 pillars will continue for the foreseeable future to ensure that we continue our balanced growth moving forward. COVID has forced us to be adaptable, and one of the best ways we've been able to adapt is by increasing our online presence, whether that means reaching out to the membership via emails and electronic newsletters, or notices on all our social media platforms, or through interesting and educational podcasts covering everything from some basic advice on mortgages to interesting insights on key individuals within this organization, to the most recent podcast featuring our board candidates. You're bound to learn something with each and every podcast, so set aside some time and have a listen. Despite the challenge imposed by COVID in 2020, Moya has continued to serve the membership by doing as much as possible over the phone and video conference, and working by appointment when necessary. Members have been encouraged not to come to the branch in person. However, if necessary, the branch has remained open for members to come in. The appointment is still required as we are now in our 3rd wave of this pandemic. We appreciate your cooperation in following COVID protocols by sanitizing your hands, wearing your masks, and maintaining the required distance from one another, as mandated by our provincial health authorities. COVID-19 definitely interrupted normal day-to-day business operations, not only for Moya, but for everyone and every organization that deals with Moya. I'm happy to say we are weathering the storm, and while the storm has not yet passed, we hope that in 2021, with the rollout of vaccines, we will see a loosening of restrictions as this pandemic gets under control and life assumes a new normal. In 2020, Moya was still very visible and present in the community. Moya is committed to serving the community, and with this focus was able to sponsor online events such as the Victoria Fund virtual concert and the Dome Leapathon. The annual scholarship program remains active, with 7 winners announced this year. Stay tuned and look out for upcoming announcements for the next scholarship contest. Moya also launched the moyacommunity.ca website. The site will contain information about some of our community initiatives, and we encourage our member organizations to register and promote their events and activities on this site. Moya is committed to remaining active in our community, doing the right things to make the community better. Our bees have been busy, and while they have been less visible this past year, rest assured that this program is still active and will continue. And finally, thank you to the staff. Thank you to my fellow Moya Financial board members, and thank you to you, the members. Despite everything thrown at us, we have managed to thrive in a very challenging environment. Moya truly is a financial institution built on a foundation of community, trust, and loyalty. And that will be the key to all of its future successes. The floor is now open for discussion of the report. Are there any questions? Reminder again to use the Q&A option on your screen to ask your question. Okay, as there are no questions, we'll continue with the Chief Executive Officer's report and the finance report. Please, Tony Kroschel.
Thanks, Val. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all staying healthy and safe. It's hard to believe that we've had a full year of COVID. With the ongoing vaccination programs, we hope that the worst is behind us. 2020 was another exceptional year, highlighted by our continued strong deposit growth. Thanks for bringing your money home to Moya. Our many initiatives involving new products and campaigns have created significant value to our members and our communities. With the onset of the pandemic early last year, our business plan for 2020 was immediately transformed to those tactics that could be mainly performed remotely. Following the success of 2019, we continued our balanced growth strategy for both inside and outside our traditional Selenian community, as we recognized that this approach was necessary for the long-term success of the credit union. With a focus on increasing wallet share and new money growth, recent results have exceeded our ambitious growth targets by 2 years. Thanks to our investment and success in social media, we've added many new members from different communities from all over Southern Ontario. To put things into perspective, in the past 2 years, we've grown by over $70 million. That's a 32% increase since 2018. In addition, all 3 strategic pillars have achieved growth, including business deposits, which have accounted for 25% of our growth. We're extremely proud that we ended the year at $310 million in assets, a terrific achievement. Thanks to you, we are larger and stronger. As Val mentioned, we accomplished a lot last year, and as promised, we significantly added to our marketing budget. We donated almost $50,000 to our communities. This year, we expect will be much the same. We are all anxiously awaiting news for a return to normalcy and know that we are committed to you. Let us know how we can help. Moya Financial remains fully operational. We continue to operate by appointment only for urgent or emergency transactions. Only one member at a time can enter the branch, and members must follow sanitizing procedures. Please wear a mask and respect social distancing. Let's stay vigilant and maintain pandemic safety protocols. I want to thank all our members for your patience and understanding. All your banking transactions can be performed remotely in the comfort of your home. And please contact us if you have any questions. Thanks to our member-facing frontline staff for your commitment to maintain business continuity. And thanks to technology as the rest of the Moya family is working hard from home. I'm very proud of our Moya team. We are all very passionate and truly committed to providing the best member experience possible. Thanks to the staff for being so selfless and courageous. Thanks to my management team for your leadership and forward thinking. And thanks to the board for your guidance and support. I look forward to seeing you all soon. So I have a question on how we reach our older members in the community that don't have online presence. That's basically done through our newsletters. Thanks for the question. We also call our members for the maturities on their term deposits as well, so everyone should get a call. And members can also call into the branch. It's my pleasure to present the finance report. The financials can be found on pages 13, 14, and 15 in your AGM annual report booklet sent to you in reminder emails and available on our website. Starting with our balance sheet, total assets increased by $36 million to $310 million, or by 13%. This was a direct result of increased deposits, which increased significantly by $35 million to $287 million. Loans increased $29 million to $237 million, or by 14%. We added 207 new loans for a record volume of $88 million. Loans now represent 76.4% of our total assets, and this is up slightly from last year. Equity remains strong at $18.5 million. Are there any questions on our balance sheet? We have a question about donations and who decides who to donate to. So donations are welcome from the community, and we have a process in place where you contact us and you apply for a donation, which we'll review, and then usually we pay a question on equity and what means equity. Equity is our retained earnings, our profits that we've had over the years. Looking at our income statement, interest income increased to $9.2 million, mainly due to our larger loan portfolio. interest expense increased to $4.2 million due to our significantly larger deposit portfolio. Operating expenses remained unchanged at $3.9 million. As a result, our net income before other items is $947,000, which is higher than the previous year. Net income after all other accounting deductions increased to $335,000. Both loan loss provisions and unrealized losses on swaps are in line with the previous years, and recall that these are both non-cash expenses. Are there any questions on our income statement?
Thank you, Tony. We'll now vote to receive the reports as presented. The report of the Chair of the Board, the report of the Chief Executive Officer, and the Finance report. Lori Zimmerman makes the motion to receive the 3 reports. Margaret Zala seconds the motion. Are there any additional questions? We'll wait a minute. Okay, seeing that there are no questions, please vote on the motion to receive the reports. Oh, we have a question. Hold on.
So is the question about our deposit growth? If we are using brokers from the outside, we do have one relationship, but it's very, very small amount of money that we get in. And so it doesn't impact our expenses. And that's why we're still able to offer reasonable, attractive rates.
Okay, thank you for voting. The motion is passed. The 3 reports were received as presented. Thank you. Next is the Audit and Risk Committee report, and I would ask the Chair of the Audit and Risk Committee, Mark Zizek, to present his report.
Thank you very much, Val. My name is Mark Zizek, and I'm going to do the Audit and Risk report. The Audit and Risk Committee of the Board of Directors fulfills its responsibilities as set out in the Credit Unions and Caisse Populaire Act of Ontario and conducts its affairs in accordance with the requirements of Section 125 of the Act and Section 27(2) of the Ontario Regulation 237-09. In 2020, the committee held 13 meetings in accordance with the Act. The 7-member Audit and Risk Committee has reviewed the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2020, and confirms that the statements fairly represent Moya Financial Credit Union in compliance with the International Financial Reporting Standards. The mandate of the Audit and Risk Committee is to assist the board in fulfilling its responsibility to the membership, the investment community, and regulatory authorities. A written report is prepared and presented to the board to discuss any item of concern and the necessary corrective action. With respect to corporate governance, financial reporting, internal control procedures, and oversight of the internal audit. The Audit and Risk Committee performed the following duties during 2020. Reviewed complaints and questions concerning privacy and ensure compliance with the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Document Act of 2001. We can report that Moya Financial is in compliance with the legislation as of December 31st, 2020. We reviewed results of the external audit provided by MNP LLP. Reviewed results of the internal audit provided by Jones and O'Connell. Reviewed the financial risk management policy and procedures of Moya Financial. Reviewed the quarterly enterprise risk management program as provided by Moya's senior leadership. Reviewed regular reports provided by management to ensure that Moya Financial complies with the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financial Act, that is for money laundering. Review the policy, procedures, and controls followed by management relating to legislative compliance. Review asset and liability management reports prepared by a third-party service provider. Reviewed the credit union disaster recovery and business continuity plans. We report that all significant recommendations the Audit and Risk Committee made have been or are in the process of being implemented. To effectively fulfill present and future responsibilities, the Audit and Risk Committee identifies and participates in professional development and training to meet increased director competency required by legislation. The Audit and Risk Committee has the full cooperation of Moya Financial Senior Leadership Team, MNP LLP, and Jones and O'Connell. We thank them for all their dedication in ensuring that Moya adequately monitors and protects the assets of our members. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the members of the committee for their diligent hard work. In our opinion, Moya Financial Credit Union Limited continues to thrive on financial strength and stability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. We'll now vote to receive the Audit and Risk Committee report. Margaret Zoller makes the motion to receive the Audit Committee report. Bill Steyant seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Seeing that there are no questions, please vote on the motion to receive the report. The motion is passed. The Audit and Risk Committee report has been received. Thank you. Mr. Joe Bates, would you like to make any comments as our auditor?
Yeah, if you have time, I can speak briefly to the audit report on the financial statements, if that's okay, Val. We were appointed the auditors for the financial statements for this past year, and so I'm happy to report back on the results of the audit. The financial statements are available to all the members. I encourage you to get a set. They go on for several pages, and I apologize for that, but that's the current accounting rules. The audit report is our document that's in the front of the statements. The statements belong to the credit union and are prepared by the credit union's management. And then, of course, our responsibility is to audit those statements and ultimately arrive at an opinion based on the results of the audit. And there are rules and standards in Canada for the auditing that we have to follow to ensure that we are able to determine if the financial statements are free of any material misstatement or error. So that audit work includes examining evidence on a test basis to support the amounts, the balances in the statements, the transactions during the year, and of course, the amounts reported in the notes that accompany the financial statements. So I'll just finish it off with the key part of the auditor's report is the first section, 2 paragraphs. And I'll just read that for you if I may. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Moya Financial Credit Union Limited, which comprise the statement of financial position as at December 31, 2020, the statements of income and comprehensive income, changes in members' equity, and cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the credit union as at December 31st, 2020, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards. And that audit report was concluded and signed off on February 16th, 2021. So that's all I have to say, Val, unless there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Does anyone have any questions of our auditor? Are there any questions for our auditor? Please remember to use the Q&A option on your screen to submit the question. So there are no questions. Once again, thank you, Mr. Joe Bates. We'll now vote to approve the report of the independent auditor on the summary financial statements and the summary financial statements. Jim Ulchar makes the motion to approve the report and statements. David Mezic seconds the motion. We'll now vote to approve the report of the independent auditor on the summary financial statements and the summary financial statements. Okay, a question came up in audit terms. What does a fair summary mean? Joe, would you care to opine on that?
Yes, sure. So I think you're probably referring to the summary financial statements. So there's a full set of financial statements, which is the ones that we audit, and that's where the audit report is that I was referring to. Those statements often credit unions, you know, they're, I don't know what they are, 40 pages long or something. So they'll prepare for easier review a summary set of statements, which only includes a couple of the key statements and then typically a note that identifies that they're summary statements. So usually in there, when they talk about a fair presentation, is that it's a fair representation of the main set of financial statements. And then ultimately, even in those statements, we're looking for a fair representation of the financial performance and financial picture of the credit union. It's not to say that it's absolutely 100% correct down to the penny. That would involve looking at every transaction, but to complete the audit such that there wouldn't be any material difference or mistake in there that actually would change the statements in a manner that could actually affect the results. In other words, that any decisions or conclusions you reached as a user by reading those financial statements. I don't know if I made that clear. I hope I did.
I think so. For anyone that is interested, the full set of financial statements are available on the Moya Financial website. The statements have been accepted. The motion is passed. The report of the independent auditor on the summary financial statements and the summary financial statements have been approved. Thank you. Every year, the membership is required to appoint an external auditor for the next fiscal year. The Board of Directors recommends MNP LLP as external auditors for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. Mark Zizek makes a motion to accept the appointment. Lori Simmerman seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Seeing that there are no questions, please vote to approve the motion. The motion is passed. Thank you, Mr. Joe Bates. Your firm, MNP LLP, has been appointed external auditor for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. Congratulations. At this time, I would like Paul DeLance to take the microphone for a special announcement and presentation.
Today is bittersweet as we commemorate Bill Stein's 45 years of credit union service. We also recognize that this is his last meeting as a board director. I speak for the entire board when I say what an honor and privilege it has been to serve as a director alongside of Bill with his wealth of knowledge, open-mindedness, and enthusiasm for our community. After 45 years of dedication to the credit union, Bill has certainly earned himself a well-deserved break. Before we let him go, we just wanted to take a quick trip down memory lane. Bill has always been eager to serve our members and dream big. Over his career as a director, Bill has served as chair on each committee, including chair of the board, and most recently, corporate secretary. Bill's smile and laughter is contagious. On this day, I'm willing to bet that Bill had no idea he'd serve for 45 years on the board. See? Bill always wears a smile. Bill's always willing to go the extra mile to get things done right and include the details that are needed. Bill has always had a strong bond and commitment to our community. Finally, we'd also like to thank Bill's family for sharing him with us for 45 years. And as the saying goes, behind every great man, there is a supportive family. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you all for this acknowledgement. I can't overstate how much I enjoyed being part of the board of directors. As you said, it started 45 years ago. At that time, we had 2,490 members and assets of 5 million. As you can see, our assets have grown substantially, 6,400%. And I'm very proud of being part of the growth of this institution, which is by far the largest Slovenian organization in Canada. Our membership numbers have not changed so much in this time frame. And I'd ask you, the members, to spread the word. So many more Slovenians and friends could benefit from becoming members. I've got to say, it's not so much about my contribution to the credit union, but what I got out of it participating as a director. I've enjoyed working with over 70 various directors and many staff members. Each one has contributed to my knowledge and understanding of various financial and cultural values. I'd like to thank all of them. I'd also like to thank my wife and family for all their support throughout my tenure. Most of all, I'd like to thank the membership for their confidence in re-electing me all these years. I'm a proud Slovenian and encourage others to participate as members and directors. I wish you all continued success. Najlepša hvala. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Know that your achievement will likely never be equaled, as we now have rules about the length of service on the board. However, also know that you will be missed. Your friendly, helpful demeanor, and your attention to detail, your ability to analyze just about anything, and your practical approach to board governance has been appreciated by both board members and our staff. You've left a huge pair of shoes to fill, and we're grateful for everything you've done for the credit union and the community overall. So thank you. So now we're at the open forum section of our meeting. Are there any additional questions? If you have a question, once again, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. That will pop up the Q&A dialog box, enter your question, and press send. So the first question, I'll just read it out incomplete. Given all that staff, management, and Tony have gone through this past year, adapting to the current situation to ensure Moya sustainability and the incredible financial results that they have achieved, will there be any of the surplus designated to reward Tony and his staff for their outstanding results? So just so everyone knows, there is a bonus program in place, and the bonus would be reflective of the results that Moya Financial achieved this year. So definitely. How many new members joined in 2020, 2021, and what was the percentage?
This year, we had roughly just over 300 new members. Thanks.
So there's a suggestion here, future voting procedures to include abstain as an option. That's something I guess we could consider, but you have to remember when you abstain, you're not really voting. Okay, when were board of directors voting results known to Moya? And why were nominees not notified prior to the AGM? Why are the results not presented to membership and the candidates?
The results of the AGM, as per written in our description, are announced at the AGM. We can certainly in the future make an effort to notify people ahead of time, and the final count was provided to us by our third-party scrutineers just yesterday. So it is quite fresh off the press.
Okay, we have a question here. Why are minutes of the AGM only presented days before the next AGM? I understand that it is the minimum necessary. However, would it not be more prudent for ongoing Moya business discussions, etc., to have the minutes available, for example, 45 days after the AGM? So yes, you're probably right. It might be useful to have the minutes available early. Really, I think it just comes down to people, whether or not they have time to do it. Assembling the minutes is a rather tedious task, and it's been our experience, at least, that there hasn't been a lot of interest in the minutes up until the next AGM. But certainly we can consider this going forward to make them available sooner. Are there any conflict of interest guidelines for directors and/or staff? And to that, I will say most definitely. It's in the Act, it's in our bylaws, and in most of our policies. So conflict of interest is a serious thing, and we take it seriously. There's a question here, how many beehive boxes do we have? Sasha, would you know?
Yes, 2.
Okay, thanks.
We have a question on how much money did we loan in Sharia compliant mortgages? The answer is we increased our portfolio by almost $19 million.
Okay, as there appear to be no more questions, we'll now wrap up the meeting. David Mezich makes the motion to adjourn the meeting. Paul DeLance seconds the motion. Okay, so there's one more comment on the question and answer. I'd like to thank Moya Financial once again for sponsoring virtual concert organized by Murski Val to benefit the Victoria Fund. Proceeds were appreciated and welcomed from the recipients of the fund. And that came from Milena Swarchuk. So you're welcome, Milena. So the poll is on the screen. And while we're waiting for the results, there is one more question. Did membership decline this year? No, the membership actually went up by 300. Okay, the motion is passed. The 5th Moya Financial Credit Union Annual General Meeting is now concluded. Thank you for your attendance and participation. Have a good night.